The message came at the quietest hour of the Galactic Council's cycle. Warning lights flashed across the communication panel, turning the dim control room into a sea of red. Emergency transmission from Outpost Delta 7, announced the system in its flat, calm voice. Lieutenant G looked up from her reports. She was the only one still working at this hour. The rest of the council staff had retired to their rest chambers, leaving the junior xenobiologist to finish cataloging new species data. She pressed the receive button. The screen showed a face streaked with sweat. Commander June's usually neat uniform was torn at the shoulder. Smoke filled the background behind him. "This is Commander June of Surveillance Outpost Delta 7, he said, his voice breaking. "The Deathworlders are moving. I repeat, the human fleet has left Earth orbit. At least 30 warships. They're heading toward Council space." She felt her hearts beat faster. Humans. Even the word caused fear among Council species. They came from a planet called Earth, a high-gravity death trap with extreme temperatures, poisonous life forms, and natural disasters that would kill most sentient beings. The humans had not only survived their world, they had thrived on it. "Are you certain?" she asked. "The peace treaty." "The treaty means nothing. Look." Commander June's hand shook as he transferred visual data. The screen changed to show vast ships moving against the black of space. G had studied human vessels before. These were bigger than anything in their known fleet. Black, angular, with weapons systems unlike anything the Council possessed. "I'm sending this to all Council members," G said, her fingers already typing the emergency code. "No one is answering," June said. His voice dropped lower. "Something's coming. Something behind me." The transmission cut to static. Jai sat frozen for 3 seconds before hitting the general alarm. The peaceful halls of the Galactic Council station filled with the soft chime of the emergency tone, designed to alert without causing panic. Within minutes, the council chamber filled with representatives of the 12 major species. Some arrived in their sleeping clothes. Others wore breathing masks, having rushed from their special atmosphere chambers. Councillor Han, the senior representative, took his place at the center seat. His long, thin fingers tapped impatiently on the marble table. "This had better be important, Lieutenant," he said. His species never showed emotion on their face, but his tail swished with annoyance. "Sir, we received an emergency transmission from Outpost Delta 7, G said. "Commander June reports that the human fleet has mobilized. They've left Earth with what appears to be their full military force." The room erupted in voices. Some councillors demanded immediate military response. Others insisted on diplomatic contact. Han raised a hand for silence. "Show us the transmission," he ordered. Jib played the message. When it ended with static, the room grew quiet. "Outpost Delta 7 monitors the border near human space," Han said. "If they've gone dark." Admiral Du, the military commander of Council forces, stood up. "We must assume hostility and prepare our defenses. The humans signed that treaty 50 years ago when they were weak. They've been building their strength since then." "Let's not rush to conclusions," Councillor Sung said. Her voice was always the voice of peace. "Humans are unpredictable, but they've honored trade agreements. There could be another explanation." Jai raised her hand. "Sir, with permission, I study human physiology and psychology. Their ships are designed for war, yes, but humans don't attack without reason. Something else might be happening." Han looked at her with all 4 of his eyes. "Very well, Lieutenant. Since you seem so interested in these Deathworlders, you will investigate. Take a fast scout ship to Delta 7. Find out what happened to Commander June and discover the humans' true purpose." Jai swallowed hard. This wasn't what she had expected. She was a researcher, not a field agent. "Yes, sir," she said. "When do I leave?" "Immediately," Han said, "before those human ships reach whatever destination they're heading toward." Jay nodded and left the chamber, her mind racing. She had studied humans from safe distances. Now she might have to face them, and their mysterious fleet, in person. Lieutenant G's scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Outpost Delta 7. What she saw made her gasp. The small station was broken open like a cracked egg. Pieces of metal floated in space around it. No lights shone from its windows. "Computer, scan for life signs," G said, her voice shaking. The computer hummed. One life sign detected. Weak but stable. Located in emergency shelter section. Jack carefully piloted her ship to the station's emergency dock. It was undamaged, as if whatever had attacked the station had not bothered with this part. She put on her spacesuit, checked her small defense weapon, and entered the station. Inside, the air was thin but breathable. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. She moved carefully, following her scanner toward the life sign. "Hello," she called. "Commander June. This is Lieutenant G from the Council." A noise came from behind a sealed door. G pressed the open button, but nothing happened. The power was out in this section. "Commander, are you in there? Identify yourself fully," came a weak voice. "Species and clearance level." "Lieutenant G, Cynobiology Division. Avenary species, clearance level 4, G answered. This was standard protocol for emergencies. The door slid open a few inches. Commander June looked out with bloodshot eyes. When he saw G, he opened the door wider. "Thank the stars it's really you," he said. "I thought they might come back." "Who might come back?" G asked, helping the commander to a seat. He was injured, with a burn on his arm and a cut on his forehead. "Not who you think," Jun said. "Not the humans. It was something else. Something I've never seen before." He pointed to a console. "I saved the recordings. Look." Jai helped June activate the backup power for the console. The screen showed the same human ships from the earlier transmission. But then the view shifted, showing something behind the human fleet. A massive ship, dark and strange, with a shape that hurt G's eyes to look at. It seemed to bend the light around it. It was at least 10 times the size of the largest human vessel. "What is that?" G whispered. "They called it a harvester," Jun said. "The humans, I mean." "You spoke to the humans." June nodded weakly. "After I sent the warning to the council, a human ship approached the station. They contacted me." He tapped another button, and a new recording played. A human face appeared on screen. The being had pale skin and short dark hair. It wore a black uniform with small symbols on the collar. "Outpost Delta 7. This is Captain Min of the Earth Defense Force vessel Thunderhead. We detect your transmission about our fleet. Your information is incomplete. We are not moving against the Council. We are pursuing a Void Collective harvester that entered this sector. This is a Class 1 emergency. Please relay to your Council. The Void has returned. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage the large vessel behind our fleet." "I tried to send this message to the Council," Jun said, "but then the harvester attacked us. It fired some kind of energy beam. Most of my crew was taken, not killed. Taken." She felt cold fear run through her body. "Taken? How?" "The beam hit them, and they just dissolved. But not like they died. Like they were absorbed into something." June's voice broke. "I hid in the shelter. The human ship tried to defend us, but the harvester was too strong. The humans retreated, following it." Jai looked at the recording again. The massive ship moved in ways that seemed impossible. "The Void Collective," she said. "I've read old texts about them. Ancient enemies thought extinct for thousands of years." "The humans knew," Jun said. "Somehow, they detected it before anyone else could. They weren't mobilizing for war against us. They were protecting us." Jai helped Jun to his feet. "We need to get this information back to the Council immediately. If the humans are right, and this Void Collective has returned, then we're all in danger," Jun finished. "And the Council is about to make a terrible mistake by seeing the humans as enemies." Jay nodded as she helped Jun toward her ship, and we might have just lost our best defenders. The main council chamber was louder than Jai had ever heard it. Representatives from all 12 major species shouted over each other. Some stood at their seats, while others pounded on the round table. Jai and Commander Jun waited at the side entrance. They had returned to council space 6 hours ago, but the emergency meeting had already been going on for 2. They won't listen, Jun said quietly. Look at them. They've already decided humans are the enemy. Jai watched with worry. Admiral Du was standing at the center of the room, pointing at a large display showing the human fleet. We must strike first, the Admiral shouted. These Deathworlders have built ships with enough firepower to destroy entire planets. Our intelligence suggests they have at least 50 vessels, each with weapons we cannot match. Councillor Sung, always the voice of peace, stood up. Her small form seemed tiny next to the Admiral, but her voice was strong. We have had peace with humans for 50 years, she said. They have traded fairly with our outer colonies. They have shared medical knowledge. We should speak with them before we assume the worst. Speak with Deathworlders. Admiral Du laughed. They evolved on a planet that would kill any of us in minutes. Their bodies can survive radiation, extreme temperatures, and toxins that would destroy our cells. Their minds are equally dangerous, unpredictable, and aggressive. A young diplomat named Tai raised his hand. What if we simply asked them why their fleet is moving? Direct communication might. Enough. Councillor Han interrupted. We will vote on our response. Those in favor of military action, raise your hands. Almost half the council raised their hands or tentacles. Those in favor of diplomatic contact. The other half indicated their support. Han looked troubled. A tie. This is unprecedented. Jai stepped forward. Sir, if I may speak. All eyes turned to her. Ji felt her heart's beating fast, but she continued. I have returned from Outpost Delta 7 with Commander Jun. We have evidence that changes everything we think we know about the human fleet movement. Han nodded for her to approach. She connected her data device to the main display. The recording from Delta 7 played, showing the human captain's warning and then the massive harvester ship. The room fell silent. The Void Collective, Han whispered. That's impossible. They have been gone for thousands of years. The old texts in our archives speak of them, Ji said. They were ancient enemies who consumed entire worlds. Our ancestors fought them alongside other species. Admiral Du shook his head. This could be human trickery, a fake recording to justify their aggression. The damage to Delta 7 was real, Commander Jun said, stepping forward. My crew was taken. Not killed. Taken. The human ship tried to defend us. The council broke into arguments again. Ji watched them, feeling helpless. They were wasting precious time. A message alert flashed on Ji's personal device. She looked down to see a name she recognized. Dr. Kim. Dr. Kim was one of the few humans who worked in council space, a scientist who had collaborated with Ji on research projects. The message was simple. Meet me at Docking Bay 12. I have information about the Void. Come alone. Jai looked up at the arguing council. They would debate for hours, maybe days. By then, it might be too late. I need to check something, she whispered to Jun. Keep them talking. Jun nodded, stepping forward to answer more questions from the council. Jai slipped out of the chamber and hurried toward the docking bays. Her mind raced with questions. How did Dr. Kim know about the Void? What information could a human scientist have that the council didn't? As she approached Bay 12, Jay saw a small human transport ship had docked. Dr. Kim stood waiting, looking nervous. Lieutenant G, the human said. Thank you for coming. We don't have much time. Time for what? G asked. To save both our species, Dr. Kim said. The Void Collective isn't just returning. They've been here all along watching us. And now they're hungry again. G followed Dr. Kim onto the human transport ship. The gravity felt stronger inside, set to Earth normal. Ji's legs trembled slightly under the extra weight. "I'm sorry about the gravity," Dr. Kim said, noticing Ji's discomfort. "We can adjust it." "No," Ji said. "I need to understand humans better. This is how you live every day." The ship lifted off smoothly. Dr. Kim explained they were heading to a human military vessel that had just entered Council space under diplomatic clearance. "The Council doesn't know about this ship?" Ji asked. "They approved one diplomatic vessel," Dr. Kim said. "They didn't ask about who would be on it." 2 hours later, they docked with a massive human warship. Its name was painted on the side, Seoul. Inside, Ji was surprised. She had expected a vessel designed for war to be cold and functional. Instead, there were plants growing in corners, colorful artwork on walls, and humans of different sizes and colors moving with purpose. Dr. Kim led Ji to a large room. A table showed a 3D map of the galaxy. Around it stood several humans in dark uniforms. One stepped forward. "Lieutenant Ji, I am Admiral Park of Earth's Defense Force. Thank you for coming." Ji had never been so close to a human military officer before. Admiral Park was tall with broad shoulders. His face had small lines around the eyes, showing age. "Why am I here?" Ji asked directly. "Because you're the only council member who might believe us," Admiral Park said. "We need your help to convince the others." He waved a hand over the map. It zoomed in on a dark area of space. "The Void Collective is not a new enemy to humans," he said. "We have fought them before, long before we met your council." Ji was confused. "The Void disappeared thousands of years ago. Your species wasn't even traveling in space then." Dr. Kim smiled sadly. "The Void never left, Lieutenant. They just changed tactics." Admiral Park pressed a button. The map showed Earth. "Our oldest stories speak of great monsters that came from the sky and devoured cities. We call them different names in different times. Demons, gods, world eaters. But they were all the same thing." Images appeared of ancient human drawings. Strange dark shapes descending from the sky, people being lifted up into them. "The Void Collective used Earth as a testing ground," Dr. Kim explained. "They seeded our world with their technology. That's why Earth became such a dangerous planet. All our harshest environments, our deadliest creatures, many were created or changed by Void experiments." Jay could hardly believe what she was hearing. "You're saying the reason humans evolved to survive on a death world is because we were forced to," Admiral Park finished. "Our bodies adapted to survive Void technology. Our minds developed to resist their influence. When we signed the peace treaty with your council 50 years ago," Dr. Kim said, "we weren't ready to explain this. Your people already feared us for being Deathworlders. If we had told you we were literally shaped by your ancient enemy, there would never have been peace." Ji understood now. "So you built your fleet in secret?" Admiral Park nodded. "We knew the Void would return in force someday. Our deep space sensors detected their energy signature 3 weeks ago. A harvester vessel, bigger than any we've seen before." "What do they want?" Ji asked. "What they've always wanted," Dr. Kim said. "Conscious thought. The Void doesn't consume planets or resources. They harvest minds. Sentient brains are their food source." Ji felt sick. The Council worlds, billions of sentient beings, would be the greatest feast they've ever had. Admiral Park said grimly. "That's why we moved our fleet. We're not your enemy, Lieutenant. We might be your only hope." "But why didn't you just tell the Council?" Ji asked. "Would they have believed us?" Dr. Kim asked. "Would you have believed us without seeing the evidence yourself?" Ji thought of the arguing council members. She had to admit the answer was no. "Take me back," she said firmly. "I need to convince the council before it's too late." Admiral Park nodded. "Dr. Kim will return with you, and I'll send our data. The harvester is heading toward the Centauri sector. If we don't stop it there, it will reach the core council worlds within days." Jai looked at the human leader, seeing him not as a frightening Deathworlder, but as a potential ally. "We'll need to work together," she said. "That's what we've been trying to say." Admiral Park replied with a small smile. "Despite our differences, we share this galaxy, and we'll defend it together, or lose it together." The council chamber was silent as the last of Admiral Park's evidence played on the large screen. Jai stood beside Dr. Kim, watching the faces of the council members. Some showed fear, others showed disbelief, but none were arguing now. Counselor Han spoke first. "If what the humans say is true, we face extinction." "It is true," Ji said firmly. "I've seen the Harvester myself. I've seen what it did to Delta 7. Admiral Du, who had been the strongest voice against humans, stood up slowly. "Their evidence is convincing. The void energy signatures match our ancient records." "Then we must work together," Counselor Sung said. "Human strength with council technology." Han looked at Dr. Kim. "Will your Admiral Park agree to a true alliance? Not just a peace treaty, but a joining of our forces." "That's why I'm here," Dr. Kim said. "The human fleet is already moving to protect the Centauri sector, but they can't fight alone." The council voted. This time, there was no divide. All hands and tentacles raised in agreement. 3 days later, the first human warships arrived openly in council space. Ji watched from the main station as they docked. The ships were massive, with thick armor plates and weapon systems that made council engineers stare in awe. Human officers in dark uniforms entered the station. They walked differently than council species, heavier, more solid steps. Their faces showed emotions freely, something many council species found unsettling. Admiral Park met with Admiral Du to plan their defense. At first, the meeting was tense. 2 military leaders from very different worlds trying to work together. "Your ships are fast and have better sensors than ours," Admiral Park said, pointing to the council fleet on the display map. "But they can't take a direct hit from a void weapon. And your ships are well armored but slower," Admiral Du replied. "You can fight, but you can't find the enemy as quickly." Jai watched as they slowly began to develop a plan. Council ships would locate and track the void vessels. Human ships would provide the attacking force. It made sense, using the strengths of both. But problems emerged quickly. Humans made decisions faster than council species were comfortable with. They relied on what they called gut feelings, instinctive choices that confused the more logical council officers. "We can't wait 3 days for approval," a human captain named Tai argued during a planning meeting. "The Harvester moves too quickly. We need to react in hours, not days. Our command structure requires thoughtful consideration," a council commander replied. The 2 sides seemed stuck. Ji feared the alliance would break before it even started. Then an alarm sounded. The Void Scout ship had been spotted near a small council colony. It had already taken 40 settlers. Both fleets scrambled to respond. The council ships arrived first, using their superior speed. But they held back, waiting for the slower human vessels. "We can't wait," Ji said over the communication link. She had been assigned as a liaison officer on a council ship. "The Void Scout is taking more people." But the council commander hesitated, following protocol to wait for full fleet approval. A single human ship arrived, smaller than the others. Its captain's voice came through the speakers. "This is Captain Min of the Thunderhead. We're going in. Cover our approach." Before the council commander could respond, the human ship charged toward the Void Scout. It fired weapons unlike anything Jai had seen before. Not energy beams, but physical projectiles that tore through the Void ship's defenses. The Void Scout turned to flee, dropping several captured settlers as it accelerated away. The human ship moved quickly to recover them. When it was over, 73 settlers had been saved. 17 were lost. Without the human ship's quick action, all would have been taken. That night, the alliance truly began. Council commanders recognized they needed human decisiveness. Human officers saw the value of council planning and technology. Ji watched as Admiral Park and Admiral Du finished a new battle plan, both contributing their strengths. We have a chance, Dr. Kim said quietly to Ji as they observed the two leaders. If we can overcome our differences quickly enough. Ji nodded. The question is, will the void give us enough time to learn to work together? The laboratory on the main council station was filled with strange equipment. Some came from human ships with heavy, solid controls. Others were council devices, sleek and delicate. Ji worked alongside Dr. Kim, studying the pieces of the damaged Void scout ship. Captain Min's attack had broken off a section of the strange vessel. It was the first time anyone had captured Void technology intact. Be careful, Dr. Kim warned as Ji reached toward a dark, pulsing object. We still don't know what most of these things do. Ji pulled her hand back. The object seemed to follow her movement, as if watching her. It's responding to my thoughts, she said quietly. Dr. Kim nodded. That's what we're discovering. Void technology doesn't just respond to physical controls. It reacts to brain patterns. Admiral Park and Admiral Du entered the lab. Both looked tired after days of planning the fleet movements. What have you found? Admiral Du asked. Ji activated a display screen. It showed a complex pattern of energy readings. The Void vessels aren't machines as we understand them, she explained. They're partly alive. They feed on conscious thought. We knew they took people, Admiral Park said. But why? Dr. Kim pointed to another screen. It showed brain scans of different species. Look at the thought patterns, she said. Council species have ordered, predictable thought structures. Humans have chaotic, constantly changing patterns. She pointed to the dark object from the Void ship. This technology absorbs ordered thought. It's like digestion. She suddenly understood. They're not just taking people, they're eating their minds. Admiral Du looked sick. Is that why they left all those years ago? They had consumed enough. And why they left Earth alone? Admiral Park added. Human thoughts are too chaotic for them to process easily. We're indigestible. Dr. Kim nodded. It's like comparing easy-to-eat food with something tough and bitter. Council species are a perfect food source. Humans are too much trouble to eat. Admiral Du turned to Ji. You said the technology responds to thoughts. Can we use that against them? Ji had been thinking about this. Maybe. The Void ships seem to anticipate logical, ordered attacks. That's why they easily defeated Council ships in the past. But they struggle with human unpredictability. So our weakness is actually our strength, Admiral Park said with a small smile. Exactly, Ji replied. Human emotions, your quick changes in thinking, your ability to make illogical choices, these things confused Void technology. Admiral Du looked at the human admiral with new respect. Then we need to combine our approaches, our logical planning with your instinctive reactions. A young council officer rushed into the lab. Admirals, our long-range sensors have detected the main harvester. It's bigger than we thought. At least 3 times the size of our largest station. Dr. Kim pulled up the sensor readings. The harvester was massive, a dark shape that seemed to bend space around it. It's heading toward Proxima Colony, the officer continued. Estimated arrival, 30 hours. Admiral Park's face hardened. Proxima has 5 million settlers, both council and human. It would be their biggest feeding in centuries, Ji said. We need to move now. Admiral Du decided. How soon can the fleet be ready? The human ships can launch in 1 hour, Admiral Park said. Council vessels need 3 hours for proper preparation, Admiral Du replied. Admiral Park shook his head. We don't have 3 hours. The harvester will sense us gathering and change course to a softer target. For a moment, Ji thought Admiral Du would argue. Council protocol was clear. Proper preparation was essential. Instead, the Council Admiral surprised everyone. Then we'll be ready in 1 hour too. We'll finish preparations on the way. Dr. Kim and Ji exchanged looks of hope. The 2 military leaders were finally working as one. Lieutenant Ji, Admiral Du said, You and Dr. Kim have the most knowledge of void technology. I want you both on the command ship. Jay nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. We'll continue analyzing the data during the journey. As they left the lab, Dr. Kim touched Ji's arm. There's something I didn't want to say in front of the admirals, she said quietly. The void doesn't just feed on minds. It learns from them. With each person it takes, it gets smarter. So if it reaches Proxima, Ji started, it might become unstoppable, Dr. Kim finished. The command center of the human flagship Korea hummed with activity. Maps and displays covered the walls, showing both fleets moving toward Proxima Colony. Council officers in their light blue uniforms worked alongside humans in dark gray. Some wore translation devices in their ears. Jai stood with Dr. Kim as Admiral Park and Admiral Du presented their battle plan to the assembled captains. A harvester will reach Proxima in 26 hours, Admiral Park said. We'll intercept it here, in the outer system. He pointed to a spot on the map. Admiral Du continued, Council ships will form a detection net. Our superior sensors can track the harvester even when it tries to bend space around itself. Once located, Admiral Park added, human ships will move in for direct attack. Our vessels can withstand void weapons better than Council ships. A Council captain raised a hand. How can we communicate quickly enough? Our systems don't connect well with human technology. That's already solved, Dr. Kim said. She held up a small device. We've created new translation and communication units. Each ship will have a mixed crew, Council and human officers working together. Jai was surprised. Mixed crews. Is that possible on such short notice? It's already happening, Admiral Park said. Volunteers from both fleets. Lieutenant Ji, you'll serve on the Korea as our void technology expert. Admiral Du looked at the assembled officers. This is unprecedented. Never have our species fought together. But we face an enemy that would consume us all. Any questions? Admiral Park asked. A human captain stood up. How do we know the harvester won't just run when it sees our fleet? Jai stepped forward. Based on our analysis, the harvester is hungry. It hasn't fed on a large population in centuries. 5 million minds on Proxima is too tempting for it to ignore. Besides, Dr. Kim added, it thinks it can defeat us. It doesn't understand that we've joined forces. The meeting ended, and crews hurried to their ships. Ji was shown to her quarters on the Korea. The room was smaller than she was used to, with stronger gravity, but she noticed thoughtful touches. The temperature was set warmer, like her homeworld. A knock came at her door. Captain Min stood there, now assigned as tactical officer on the Korea. Lieutenant Ji, he said with a small bow. We're having a meal before battle. Will you join us? Jai followed him to a large room where officers gathered around tables. Humans ate strange foods, some cooked with fire, others raw. They offered Ji foods compatible with her biology. As they ate, humans asked questions about Council worlds. Council officers asked about Earth. Ji was surprised by the genuine curiosity on both sides. Is it true you can regrow limbs? A Council engineer asked a human medic. The human laughed. No, but we can survive losing a lot of blood. And we heal quickly. How do you live with such strong emotions? Ji asked Captain Min. Doesn't it interfere with your thinking? Min considered this. Our emotions are part of our thinking. They help us make fast decisions when there's no time for logic. Later, in her quarters, Jai received a call from Admiral Du. How are things on the human ship? He asked. Different, Ji admitted, but not as different as I expected. They're trying to make us comfortable. Admiral Du nodded. This alliance may be the most important thing our species has ever done. If we survive this battle. When we survive, Ji corrected. A small smile appeared on the Admiral's face. You sound like them now. That human confidence. Maybe we need some of that, Ji said. After the call ended, Jai studied the latest data on the harvester. Its pattern of movement had changed. It was moving faster toward Proxima. It knows we're coming. she whispered to herself. The ship's alert system activated. All personnel to battle stations. Harvester detected. Time to intercept. 4 hours. Jai hurried to the command center. They were early. The harvester had increased its speed dramatically. Admiral Park stood calmly in the center of the room. He looked at Ji as she entered. "It's trying to reach Proxima before we can intercept," he said. Ji nodded. "It's hungry, and it's afraid of us." "Good," Admiral Park said. "Fear means we have a chance." Around them, human and council officers moved with purpose, preparing for the first true test of their alliance. Ji watched them working together, different species united against a common enemy. For the first time since the crisis began, she felt real hope. Space around Proxima Colony lit up with fire. The harvester, huge and dark, moved through the outer system with 30 smaller void ships around it. Against them, the combined fleet of humans and council forces spread out in formation. Jai stood on the bridge of the Korea, watching the screens. Admiral Park stood calmly at the center, giving orders in a steady voice. "Council detection ships, report positions," he said. One by one, the council captains confirmed they were in place. Their ships were smaller but faster, forming a wide net around the battle zone. "Void vessels approaching Defense Line Alpha," reported a council officer. "They match our course changes perfectly." Ji frowned. "They're reading your thought patterns. The void ships can predict what a logical council captain will do." Admiral Park nodded. "Then we change the game. All human attack ships, break formation. Captains, use your best judgment. Create chaos." The human ships suddenly moved in different directions, breaking the careful pattern they had practiced. On the screens, Jay could see the void ships hesitate, as if confused. "It's working," she said. "They can't predict random movements." The first shots were fired. Void beams struck 2 council ships, which exploded instantly. Human vessels fired back with physical weapons, missiles and projectiles that tore into the smaller void ships. "Council vessel Harmony is hit," called out a communications officer. 200 crew lost. Ji felt sick. Those weren't just casualties. They were food for the void. The battle spread across the system. Council ships used their sensors to track void vessels, even when they tried to hide by bending space. Human ships followed, attacking with their superior weapons. 3 hours into the battle, 7 void ships had been destroyed, but 12 council ships and 5 human vessels were lost. The harvester itself remained untouched, protected by its smaller ships. "We need to hit the harvester directly," Admiral Park said. "As long as it remains intact, it can create more scout ships." Jai studied the sensor readings. "There's a weak point here." She pointed to a spot on the harvester's image. "The energy patterns are different, less dense." Admiral Park ordered 10 human ships to focus their attack on that spot. They charged forward, firing all weapons. The Korea shook violently as a void beam struck it. Lights flickered. Ji grabbed a console to stay standing. "Damage report," Admiral Park called. "Decks 3 through 7 hit," an officer reported. "Shield generators down. Weapon systems at 60%. Captain Min looked at the tactical display. "Sir, communications are damaged. We can't coordinate with the other ships for the attack run." Jai watched Admiral Park's face. A council commander would retreat to repair the ship first. What would the human do? "We continue the attack," Admiral Park said. "The Korea will lead the strike force." The damaged flagship moved forward, heading straight for the harvester. Other human ships followed. Void beams struck the Korea again. The ship shook harder. "Hull breach on deck 5, shouted an officer. "We've lost engines 2 and 4. Jai looked at Captain Min. "We can't reach the target point like this." Min's face showed grim determination. "Yes, we can." Admiral Park gave an order that shocked Ji. "Prepare for ramming speed." The human crew moved quickly, without question. They were going to drive their damaged ship directly into the harvester's weak point. "This is suicide," Ji said. Captain Min shook his head. This is humanity. We don't give up. The Korea accelerated toward the harvester, its remaining engines pushing to full power. Void ships moved to intercept, but other human vessels held them back. Jai watched the massive harvester grow larger on the screen. They were going to hit it. At the last moment, Admiral Park gave a new order. Launch all escape pods. All non-essential personnel evacuate now. Captain Min grabbed Ji's arm. That includes you. You have the void data. The Council needs it. Jai wanted to argue, but two human officers were already leading her to an escape pod. As the pod launched, she watched through a small window as the Korea crashed into the harvester's weak point. A massive explosion bloomed in space. The harvester's surface cracked, energy pouring out. In her escape pod, Jai held her breath. Had the sacrifice worked? As the pod spun away from the battle, she saw the harvester still moving, but now with a gaping wound in its side. The remaining void ships were retreating, moving away from Proxima. A voice came through the pod's communication system. This is Admiral Du. We've driven them back. Proxima is safe. Jai closed her eyes in relief, then opened them to see the stars outside. The battle was won, but at a terrible cost. And she knew the void would return, stronger and hungrier than before. 1 month after the battle at Proxima, Jai stood at a large window on Earth. The view showed mountains and forests under a blue sky. It looked peaceful, but Ji knew better now. This world had shaped humans into survivors, into warriors. Her injuries from the escape pod crash had healed. She had been brought to Earth for treatment in human medical facilities, which were better at handling trauma than Council hospitals. Beautiful, isn't it? Admiral Du said, joining her at the window. He had come to Earth for an emergency meeting. Yes, Jai agreed. Hard to believe such a lovely world could be so dangerous. Like its people, Admiral Du said, but there was no fear in his voice now, just respect. They walked together to the meeting hall where the remaining human leaders had gathered. Admiral Park had died on the Korea, but his second-in-command, Admiral Lee, now led the human forces. Inside the hall, screens showed disturbing images. The harvester, larger than before, had repaired itself, and it was not alone. 2 more harvesters had appeared from deep space. The void is gathering its full strength, Admiral Lee said as Ji and Admiral Du took their seats. The wounded harvester has shared what it learned about us. They know we can hurt them now. They won't underestimate us again. Where are they heading? Ji asked. Dr. Kim pointed to a map, directly for the Council core worlds. Hundreds of billions of minds there. If they consumed those, they would become unstoppable, Admiral Du finished. Our combined fleet lost 20% of its strength at Proxima, a human general said. We can't fight 3 harvesters. That's why it's time for Protocol Ragnarok, she said. Admiral Du looked confused. What is Protocol Ragnarok? Something we hoped we wouldn't need, Dr. Kim explained. When we signed the peace treaty with the Council 50 years ago, we agreed to limit our military presence in Council space. But we didn't actually reduce our military, Admiral Lee continued. We just hid it. She pressed a button. The map changed, showing thousands of small dots appearing throughout Council space. Hidden bases, Lee explained. Small outposts with minimal crews. Each one contained ships, weapons, and human soldiers in sleep status. We placed them throughout the galaxy as a last defense if the void ever returned in force. Jai stared at the map in shock. There were human bases everywhere, some very close to major Council worlds. You violated the treaty, Admiral Du said, but his voice held no anger, just amazement. We protected the galaxy, Admiral Lee corrected. And now we need to activate all of them. Within hours, the signal was sent. Across Council space, hidden human bases powered up. Sleep chambers opened. Ships that had been dormant for decades came online. From the command center on Earth, Ji watched the screens as thousands of small human vessels appeared everywhere. Council worlds sent confused messages as human ships suddenly rose from hidden underground bases or emerged from asteroids and small moons. Will it be enough? G asked Dr. Kim. I don't know, the human scientist admitted, but it's everything we have. 3 days later, the Void Fleet reached the edge of the core Council systems. There, they found not just the remaining combined fleet, but thousands of human ships waiting. The battle that followed was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Void ships tried to predict movements and failed. Human vessels attacked from all directions, in patterns that made no logical sense, but worked perfectly together. On Earth, G and Dr. Kim monitored the battle from the command center. Hour after hour, reports came in. Human ships taking heavy damage but fighting on. Council vessels providing perfect targeting data. The Void Harvesters, for the first time, showing signs of confusion. After 2 days of constant fighting, Admiral Du received the message they had been waiting for. The Void Fleet is retreating, he announced. All 3 harvesters are moving away from Council space. The room erupted in cheers. G felt tears on her face. They had won. 1 week later, the Galactic Council held a special session. Jay stood with Dr. Kim as Counselor Han spoke. For generations, we called humans Deathworlders. We feared them for their strength, their aggression, their unpredictability. Han said, today, we recognize that these same qualities saved us all. He turned to Dr. Kim and the human representatives. The Council formally reclassifies humans. No longer Deathworlders, but guardians of the galaxy. As applause filled the chamber, Ji looked at Dr. Kim. What happens now? She asked. Now the real work begins, Dr. Kim said. Learning to live together, not just fight together. Ji nodded. The galaxy had changed forever, and she would help build this new future, where once feared Deathworlders stood as protectors of all life.